$1.7 billion has been liquidated from the crypto markets, despite all of the crazy, insanely bullish news that we saw last week. We had interest rates get lowered and we thought everything was going to pump, but guess what? It didn't. When we took a look at the charts over the weekend, on Sunday, we saw a little bit of, bearish activity, and that's okay because that's how the markets work. So let's go ahead and talk about the 1.7 billion that was liquidated from the market. We've got some XRP news. We've got some altcoin news. We've got some regulatory news. Also, there is some very big news coming tomorrow, Tuesday. I do know what the announcement is. I am not at liberty to say, so I can't tell you. It has nothing to do with price action. A lot of people are speculating that. It more has so to do with a long-term outlook on crypto. Because again, we're still in this phase where, even though we're supposed to be operating in this true decentralized economy, we're still in this phase where we do need to establish guidelines and establish regulation and establish what we can and can't do in the USA. So let's go ahead and get into it and see what's going on. First and foremost, it looks like the S&P 500 has hit 27 all-time highs this year. The interesting thing about this is that when we take a look at traditional finance, we'll take a look at SPX right here. People like to say crypto is manipulated, which, yeah, it could be to an extent. But what about the stock market? The stock market's not a true decentralized economy. Crypto is the closest thing we have to that. Well, not even crypto, Bitcoin, because the market gets to decide. But the more and more we see the Bitcoin strategic reserves, Bitcoin added to balance sheets, treasuries, etc., makes it a little less decentralized, in my personal opinion. But it's interesting to see people outright call crypto a scam, but this is not a scam, right? So there's that, why not? But let's go ahead and look at the 1 billion that was liquidated from the crypto market. So this is from the Cobb letter over here. And they said 1 billion worth of Bitcoin longs have been liquidated in 20 minutes after a sudden price drop. They said we frequently see during the Sunday night session, low liquidity led to a large washout. Dip is frequently bought into the U.S. market open. And that's an important piece of information here. And the reason why it's an important piece of information is because we have the Bitcoin spot ETFs. And those do garnish a lot. My hair's crazy right here. Sorry, guys. It's hair washing day yesterday. But that's where I feel like a lot of the buying comes from is from those particular assets or the selling, et cetera. Because remember, those are not tokenized yet. And those are not able to be traded 24/7. 365 like Bitcoin, because you don't need to invest in Bitcoin via a spot ETF to have, you can to have exposure, but you could buy and hold it yourself. So so it makes sense that, and again, you can still trade Bitcoin. You can still use crazy amounts of leverage, which I don't recommend if you're somebody who's actively trading 2 to 3 times max. But moral of the story is that we're still a globally traded market. And I think that's why the RWAs and the tokenization has really kind of taken off. And we're going to get into that. There is a story there. Who cares? Doesn't matter. I don't care. Anyway, shout out to the TikTok babes. Shout out to YouTube babes, Rumble and Twitch. Good morning to Mr. R, Mr. Dale, Mr. D, mixing. Mr. Lawrence, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it. And yes, I am very dependable. Very, very dependable. And then Mr. Marvin, I think you were asking, you might have emailed about how to become a channel member. There's a button at the top where it says to subscribe. And gorgeous Alexandra, okay? Market is saturated. Only top coins will run hard. Like, I don't know what that is, so I'm not going to say now. All right, let's go ahead and talk about. We got to get into it a little bit more. Thoughts on XRP? I like XRP's fundamentals long term. One of the things I often think about XRP is I often think about where would it be in 2025 without all of the unjust treatment from the SEC. Where would it be today? And that's why we've seen so much growth overseas. But that's all right. Let's go ahead and get back into the news and whatnot. So the market's dropped. That's what happened. When we do take a look at the liquidation map, right now things have kind of. Shout out to Callie. Things have actually kind of sustained a little bit. We're in the 24 hours. It looks like we're about 98 million and whatnot. So. Is what it is. Ethereum, others, etc. That's the 24 hour or the 1 hour. What the heck what is this? All right, stop making. Oh, sorry, guys. All right. Now, with that being said, so Ethereum about half a billion, Bitcoin about 300 million. Here, we'll do this for you guys. There you go. There you go. Actually, hold on. I don't have time for annoying people. I really don't. I don't have time for people who don't care about critical thinking and they don't care about pushing themselves forward. If you want to troll me, do it on X. At least I get paid. Anyways. Now, so we saw a lot of liquidations, but when we took a look at the markets yesterday, well, actually, this is what the market's looking like right now. It looks like all the gains we got last week were kind of erased. But taking a look at the charts, let's take a look and see what's happening. I said just as long as we can stay above $111,000, great. But I also said that we did look a little bit bearish, especially on the weekly yesterday. And we actually did tap that $111,000 area. Market Cipher did print a red dot. If you guys want to trade with me, I am currently on Kraken. It is a US based exchange over there. So if you guys want to trade with me there, great. QR code up there. Ref link down below. So there's that. And if you're interested, trade with me there. If not, no worries. But back to the market, okay? And again, you guys, right now, one of the things that I want to actually talk about before I really get into charts is the current state of the market. I'm not really actively trading because there's no point right now. If you want to spot buy, if you want to, whatever that is, you do you. You do what works for you. But you need to consider maybe just sitting on your hands, especially with a lot of this volatility. And all these liquidations that we're seeing happen, you shouldn't be giving your Bitcoin back to the market, and you shouldn't be giving any of your crypto back to the market right now. You want to be able to enter, take profit, and make a moon bag. That's exactly what you want to do. And the people that are giving their Bitcoin back to market, that's not a good thing. The reason why I'm more bullish on Bitcoin than any other crypto asset is because there's going to be a lot of DeFi, CIPHER available on it. And I'm just going to be taking loans out against my Bitcoin and whatnot in the future. So there's that. But anyways, with that being said, just be safe out there. Sometimes you don't have to freaking trade. You really don't. Now, on the weekly, we don't look great. On the daily, yeah, that was the other one. Yeah. On the daily, we're not looking great either right now. It still looks like a little bit more downside with Market Cipher. And then again, this is the big chart that I have, that has all of the little lines. Oopsie, that has all the little lines over here. But when we look back at yesterday's chart that I drew, is we still have a little bit more room down to about $107,000, $108,000, which is important. But at the same time, if we do break below 111 again, it could cause a little bit of panic in the market. Could cause panic. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Ethereum is getting dangerously low. This is actually the last time we had this nasty of a drop down was back in August. So it's kind of important for Ethereum to sustain over here. And make sure you guys smash a like. That helps support me in the show and you too on the ticky-tacky. Now, taking a look at Solana actually, and this is the weekly, Solana broke down below support. And we're currently trading at about 221. But we do have more support at 205. XRP is also down, but it's actually starting to rebound. And XRP loves to play on the trend line. It really, really does. So super cute over there. Chainlink actually had a gnarly drop almost below $20. I didn't get any of my orders filled, which is okay. But now we had that gnarly drop to $20.28. Now we're back up to $21.24, and we did get a swing low high to retest resistance at $21.68. ADA is also kind of just not really doing a whole lot, but it was a really gnarly drop, and it could be due to all of the liquidations that happened, whatnot last night. HBAR also had a really, really bad drop down to touch 21 cents. And we're back at upper 21 cents over there. So things are slowly starting to rebound, and that's okay. It's called the market. It's called volatility. Now, taking a look at, do we want to do gold? I guess we could talk about gold, and we could talk a little bit about the announcement. In the meantime, gold rallies an hour after Bitcoin drops, suggesting a profit rotation into metals. I do want to talk about this because I do think it's interesting over here. Okay. So Bitcoin dropped 3% in 24 hours to 112, and it's down since rate cut on September 17th. Gold is up 41% year to date, though. It's year to date. Silver rose 1.5% during the same 24-hour period, and silver is up over 50% in 2025. One of the things I really, really want to hit hard on with you guys. Possibly, who knows? Shout out to John. The interesting thing here is that silver rose 1.5% during the same 24-hour period. That's what happened with silver. But let's go ahead and take a look at the hour. So silver had a 1.5% gain. But if you take a look at the crypto markets, our gains are a lot different. And those of you that are actively complaining about crypto price action, I really want you to take a look at these. Look at these. Just look at these gains over here in the last hour. So these are kind of minimal. This generally isn't a regular day for crypto. Normally you usually see 3 to 5% gains, but Pendle 1%, Crow 1%. Cake 1.5%, Pump, MYX, etc. But normally you get at least 3 to 5%. 3 or 5%, and a 1.5% gain in stocks is a little bit volatile. Is a little bit volatile. Thank you, Lawrence. And overnight, right? Yeah, that I don't want to get into all that drama. Yeah, I am realistic though. I try my best to be, because I want to be I get really excited about Ethereum hitting 10,000 because I have a lot of conviction in that. But at the same time, I don't like to really promise gains because I think that's dumb. But anyways, so gold is doing incredibly well, and I just kind of want to show you guys that. Timing suggests possible rotation of profits from Bitcoin to gold per CoinDesk. Now, really quickly, if you guys are curious about diversifying your portfolios by investing in precious metals like gold, you can check out our partners over at iTrust. So we got the landing page over here if you guys are interested. And with that being said, if you want to trade, you can trade crypto there. You can trade precious metals and all that type of stuff. And they also have premium custody accounts, PCAs, and tax advantage crypto IRA platform. Basically, you can build your traditional financial products that way if you'd like to. But they do offer gold there, so that's why I'm shilling them right now. And again, they offer 24/7 trading over 70 crypto assets like metals and gold, silver. The assets are held with institutional grade cold storage custody, and it supports traditional Roth SEP IRAs. And you can actually roll over your existing retirement plan. I can't give you guys financial advice, but I have told my mother that's something that she should probably consider doing. Why? Because why not? Why not? But yeah, I can talk to her about that, but not you guys, okay? I can't do that because that's not how it works. But anyway, shout out to iTrust for partnering with us. Now let's kind of talk a little bit about the possibility of the rotation into from Bitcoin into gold. Because again, precious metals are seen as a hedge against inflation. They always have been. And you will see people kind of get into gold, into silver, et cetera. These are people that are trading professionally for the most part. I feel like people that are actively day trading or swing trading. These are not people that are just like buying the dip. If you're somebody that's kind of buying the dip, using iTrust or accumulating long term, you're not going to be concerned with a lot of the short term price action. You're just buying and kind of holding. So this is people that are trading professionally, in my personal opinion. But I know everybody's a little bit upset about the current state of the market. Don't be telling people to buy XRP. What are you talking about? This is why I don't pay attention to TikTok half the time, because you guys' comments are crazy. We cover news here, sweetheart. We cover news here because you guys are intelligent. And well, some of you are intelligent enough to make your own decisions. But we cover the news, and we're going to talk about Solana and Ethereum and all kinds of stuff. Oh, also too, Michael Saylor bought more Bitcoin. And also apparently his stock is under attack. That's going to be interesting to want to cover. Actually, before XRP, let's talk about this over here. So basically, a lot of people are pissed off on CryptoX because they're like, what are you talking about? You don't know an announcement. You're just dead. This is the thing, you guys. I have built up a massive network. I don't brag about my network. I don't talk about it sometimes I do, but I've got a really big network. I've been doing this since end of 2017, but more so 2018. And I used to do a lot more interviews on this channel. I don't do too many because they don't get the views. You guys don't care. So I kind of stopped doing them. But if you go back and you look at some of the early content I did, the early interviews, from way back when, I used to have people from the SEC, people that were public servants, all kinds of stuff, lawyers, CPAs. You might get a better idea of what's happening. You guys also know I love California and I love crypto. And you also know that in 2024, I voted for crypto. So there is a big announcement coming. I do know what it is. And I'm really excited to see what the future holds, especially in California. So there's that. And again, one of the cool things about the United States of America is we get to see things done on a state level. And that's, I mean, you can have like the federal laws and regulations. It's like kind of governs all to an extent. But the cool thing about the states is the states get to really kind of choose. They get to vote people in to make decisions on their behalf and to kind of represent the ethos of that particular state. And then you have those representatives that go to, Washington and whatever it is. But Dennis Porter's a good friend of mine. I think he's been on the channel before. I don't remember, but he's done really great work for Bitcoin. So thank you to him and just in general. But it's going to be interesting to see what's happening with Bitcoin and crypto tomorrow. Now let's talk about XRP. So this comes from Crypto in America. This is Miss Ellie's channel over here. But basically, there's a new liquid staking token that lets XRP's holders earn up to 8%. Midas and Axler launch MXRP. It's a tokenized XRP product offering 8% base yield paid in XRP. Not available to users in the US or certain regions, which is a little bit crazy. It is composable and usable across DeFi. And even though it's not available to the US yet, I think that this is really, really cool. The reason why I think it's really cool is because you're seeing DeFi options on XRP, XRPL. And that's what a lot of people have been interested in. And I also think, good morning, Julie, gorgeous. I also think that, again, I say it and I'll say it again, Ripple ecosystem made a really good choice with the launch of their stablecoin and running it on XRPL and Ethereum until they got their stuff, built up. So shout out to people that are going to access this. But it was unveiled in Korea because it's Korea Blockchain Week on Monday. Or it's actually XRPL Seoul 2025. And it's the first DeFi product of any kind on the XRP ledger. And let's hope that it gets to the US. And it's target 6 to 8% yield. So again, you got to know where the yield comes from. Now, this is another big one over here. This was announced on the 19th. Customer Spotlight. And we did a little video on this. BDCAS Korea. One of only 4 licensed crypto custodians in South Korea is delivering a secure institutional access to XRP, RLUSD, and other tokenized assets with Ripple custody. So pretty big news over there too. So Ripple's doing stuff. They're doing stuff. And as far as Solana goes, Solana DEX volume shift as stablecoins replace memecoin speculation. I want to read this to you because I think this is very interesting. It kind of gives you a way that, or gives you an idea of where money's coming from. So Solana and memecoin or DEX memecoin trading dropped below 30% of volume by September 2025. Stablecoin transactions now make up over 60% of Solana DEX activity. Memes made up over 60% of DEX volume in late 2024 and early 2025, which again, that's where the cycle was. Everybody was excited about meme coins then, and then it ended up not faring well because a lot of rug pulls and scams caused decline in meme coin trading, which started around February, but it was present before that. Daily active Solana DEX users fell from 4.8 million to January to under 800,000 by September. But stablecoin trading between Solana and stablecoins reached nearly 58% of DEX volume. I'm not really understanding what they're saying. Stablecoin trading between Sol and stablecoins. This is weird because they're 1-to-1. And apparently the shift includes maturation of Solana ecosystem towards stable, less volatile assets per being in crypto. And the Solana stablecoin ecosystem grew from 5 billion to the start of 2025 to over 12 billion. And they're probably using DeFi apps. That's what I would imagine. DeFi dApps for yield and all that type of stuff. But moral of the story is the market corrects itself. You just got to be patient. PayPal invests in stablecoin focused layer 1 stable to expand PayPal USD distribution, utility, and liquidity. Stablecoins are the really big thing that's happening right now, which it's kind of meh to me. It's kind of boring. And I really wish that, the Clarity Act would have got pushed through first, personally. But, it is what it is. We'll do what we can do. Who said anything about banking, honey? No one did. Well, but it's coming back. Now, we talked about stablecoin news, but we're going news. We're coming back to, I know stablecoins are not sexy. They're not fun. But we have to talk about them because you guys need to know what's going on, and you need to know as far as DEX volume and where the trend is because if you understand, this is the thing with centralized exchanges, we can go to, where in the hee-haw is it? We can go to CoinMarketCap. And it's a lot easier to kind of navigate because it'll tell you. You can just literally go to, where the heck is exchange? You can go over here. You can go to DEX scan and stuff, but I feel like it's everything is a little bit more aggregated with the centralized exchanges. I could be wrong though. The other people could think differently. So there's that. But, you know, we still, like, especially with the meme coins, it was kind of hard to really kind of navigate where all the volume and all that stuff was coming from. Or maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know. But, you know, not perfect. But anyways, Forward Industries announces intent to launch tokenized shares on Solana via Super State's opening bell. Interesting. They are going to be tokenizing their shares on Solana. We actually did a story about them last week. It's going to enable 24/7 trading, real-time settlement, and increase global liquidity. They plan to take equity in Superstate to strengthen collaboration and product development. Tokenized Ford shares, it's not Ford, the automotive, but Forward, will be accepted as collateral across major Solana lending protocols. And that's where I think the stablecoin growth is coming from, is the Solana lending protocols and the DeFi applications via Solana because of the tokenization of NASDAQ listed companies, some of them. I think we're going to see a big segue into that. And again, we are going to be getting RWAs and tokenizations and whatnot approved. Also, too, this, I think I don't know if we have it or not. I might not have sent it, which was probably my fault because I do that sometimes. But this over here, Beep and US to launch a joint task force to align regulations. And I went ahead and I did a little bit of research on this over here. I can't really talk about it too much is because they're really hitting hard on a particular word, which stinks on the show. Stinks. Thank you, Lawrence. This is from the thrift store too. And there's little roses on it. So. But with that being said, it's going to be interesting to see. And one thing I will say is even though we don't have Clarity Act that's completely fulfilled and put out there, we do have the Genius Act, which is about stablecoins. And it's nice. And you know when I said that the U.S., I've said this in the past, but whoever gets regulation out first, even if it's in a different country, a lot of times other countries will kind of build off of what that existing regulation is or kind of take what they like. MiCA, I'm not the biggest fan of it. There's lots of things I don't like. I think that we're going to have better regulations in the US, personally. So, you know. All right, next on the docket, we've got for Vitalik. Vitalik backs low-risk DeFi to add revenue to Ethereum. This is from Cryptopolitan. He said the relationship could be similar to what already exists between Google Search and Google. He's also backed Ethereum to turn out better than Google. He says low-risk DeFi can help sustain ecosystem economically and ethically. This is true. And Ethereum's DeFi TVL recently hit 100 billion. So he's talking about lower yield, etc. And I know some of you guys think that a little bit cuckoo over here, but I do like the lower yield, and that is because it makes me a little bit nervous with the higher yield. Because if you get another crypto contagion, everything just collapses kind of. But it'll be fine, but you know. And of course, Michael Saylor bought 850 Bitcoin for almost 100 million. Average buy-in was about 117 million or 117,000 per Bitcoin. People are upset about that because everything's dropped right now. Also, too, this one is interesting, is that Saylor says strategy stock under attack from bot army bankrolled by short sellers. This is an interesting one over here. Where is it? Oh. He alleges a marketing firm was hired to generate negative content online. Master recently dropped its lowest price in 5 months. He claims bots fueled by short sellers are attacking Master. This is the thing. Can this happen? Yes. But Michael Saylor is a very polarizing person. He's had good takes and he's had bad takes. And a lot of people are very critical about all the different traditional financial products that they have, that strategy has. And a lot of people do think that they could potentially be over leveraged. So that could be it too. And people just might want to short it. I don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. I know that in traditional finance, there are certain protections in place against egregious behavior. So we'll see what happens. You know, we don't know. We're just here. This is a funny story. Oh, this too also. Vivek Ramway asset to acquire Bitcoin treasury company SMLR, and all stock transaction applies $92.50 per share, 210% premium to last close. I don't know how people don't think that traditional finance isn't a scam, but hey, stocks, but whatever. This is another interesting story here. Kevin Durant recovers Bitcoin bought at $650, now up over 17,700, nearly after a decade. This is not good for Coinbase, and I'll tell you why. Ramaswamy, I do the best. So Kevin Durant bought Bitcoin on Coinbase years and years ago for, really affordable price. What was it? Under $1,000. And he was locked out of his account for almost 10 years. So now the Bitcoin is worth a lot of money. His people probably reached out and said, hey, we need this. But for a regular person, Coinbase still has a lot of people that are locked out of their accounts. Coinbase has a very bad customer service, and they're trying to revamp that. But this story for Coinbase actually sucks. And I've been a very big critic of Coinbase because it just shows that you're going out of your way for celebrities. You're going out of your way of people with significance and with power. But for retail, you don't care. And to me, that's problematic, because crypto and Bitcoin created for the people, by the people. Coinbase is where it's at today because of retail. And we've got Brian Armstrong out here, CEO of Coinbase, that's just not really making good moves. It would be really cool to say, hey, this is what's happened. And this is another reason why I use Kraken. Yeah, Kraken is a partner of the show. And, and one of the reasons why I accepted partnership with them is because I actually use them. I like what they're doing. I've been using them for a couple of years. But the issue is this would be cool if they actually did a marketing campaign. They're like, hey, you know what? Let's actually go back to people who are locked out of their account and get this stuff fixed for them. And then use Kevin Durant as a poster child for it. That would have been dope. That would have been cool. Really, really, really cool. But for some reason, they're just not getting the memo. And it sucks because what's retail needs, you guys need to go where you're treated best. Go where you are treated best. So whether that's an iTrustCapital, a Kraken, exchange XYZ that you've done your due diligence, you great, fine, fantastic. But the issue is it just is a bad look. It really, really is. That's my opinion. Really quickly, crypto investment products draw $1.9 billion in weekly inflows after Fed rate cut. Interesting. U.S. Treasury Department seeks public comments on applying Genius Act stablecoin rules. I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you are somebody who wants change, you need to contact your public servants, your representatives. U.S. Treasury Department is saying, we want public comments. Go to their websites. Write them a letter, respectfully demand, hey, this is what I want. Hey, I like this. I don't like this. Remove accredited investor. But this is your chance to make a positive change. So you need to do it. And it takes you, a couple minutes. Talk to text. Send them a respectful email. So just a reminder, if you got an issue with the Genius Act, say it now. This is really good news here, is that Senate Dems say they want to work with Republican colleagues to move forward quickly on bipartisan crypto structure legislation. We love this. We love bipartisan efforts. You want to know why? Because it takes less time to get things approved. It takes less taxpayers' money. Okay? This is what we want done. So this is a good sign moving forward. So we have all these solid foundations being set up. And I think CZ even said something about that too. Who's talking about support or whatever it is. But hold on. Someone said something. I want to see what they said because I'm being nosy. Oh, I can't see over here. Let's go over here. Yes, Lauren's actually, that's a really good point. Sign up to all the exchanges, prevent off-ramp issues. Yeah, sign up to multiple exchanges. You should. You should use a different email address, a different password, and whatnot. You sign up to as many legitimate exchanges as you like to. Does anyone know why Polo's XRP chart is missing years of data? I have no idea. If it is, I probably wouldn't use their chart though. Next. This is big for Chainlink. Chainlink's General Counsel Ben Sherwin, on his appointment to the CFTC Digital Asset Market Subcommittee Global Market Advisory Committee. So he's basically on board. He is on board. Hold on one second. Okay. So Chainlink Labs General Counsel Ben Sherwin also joined. And basically, they're new members to the Digital Asset Market Subcommittee. There's also people from Uniswap, Aptos, BNY Mellon, etc. And the reason why this is so important is they're focusing on TradFi and DeFi. And the subcommittee advises CFTC on crypto market risks, opportunities, and policy. So why is this important? This is important is because these are the people that are going to help push regulation through and they're in the ears of the public servants. And I think Chainlink is really great representation of that because they're kind of in everything. Also, crypto custody startup BitGo reveals near four-found revenue jump in U.S. IPO filing. If you're somebody who likes crypto stocks, you probably should pay attention to this. In the IPO filing, BitGo revealed its revenue nearly quadrupled in the first half of 2025 to $4.19 billion, up from $1.2 billion earlier in the year. They reported $12.6 million profit in the first half of 2025, down from $30.9 million in 2024. So a lot of people you're going to get owned by the IRS. Heck yeah. I got another bill. I thought my 2024s were done, but they weren't. But they're done now. But I thought I had paid everything, but I didn't, but we paid it. Anyways, if you want to make money, possibly, you probably should look into crypto stocks because they're performing well. But I got to get going. Sending you guys love and light. I have to go. I'm overstimulated. I'm hungry. Okay, bye.